So in class this week we were talking about how maps both reflect how we see the world and shape how we see the world. We have a tendency to think of this area of the world as divided into three parts. What we would call Europe, what we call the Middle East, and what we would call North Africa. And that's because when we were younger, we learned the continents, we learned about political boundaries of countries, and these are the names that are very familiar to us. Europe, North Africa, Middle East would be what we would hear on the news as we learn about the world. But to the ancient people, they wouldn't have thought of these areas as North Africa, Middle East, and Europe necessarily. I mean, they would have. They would have known about these areas. It's not like they didn't realize they were there, but they had a different perspective on things. They looked at the map from the view of the water rather than the land. I should have said they looked at the world from the water rather than the land. They saw the Mediterranean as something that united the world or connected the world rather than something that would divide the world. That's not to say that in contemporary times the Mediterranean is a big divider, but they saw not a Europe, North Africa, and Middle East, but rather a Mediterranean world that would have encompassed this whole area. So their perspective on the world would have been somewhat different. In fact, the word Mediterranean even means Middle Earth, if you translate the Latin. Very telling of how the people in the ancient world viewed their world, and the name they even gave it, the middle of the earth. This was what they would have known. Their perspective on the world would have been a Mediterranean one, not a European or North African or Middle Eastern one.